All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA show. So, what I'm going to get into on this specific podcast is me kind of sick of hearing the you got to do this by everyone in my life or throughout my life. And you may have been somebody kind of caught up in this bullshit too, where you always were told you got to do this, right? You got to go do this school wise. You got to do your homework, which of course, okay. You got to eat this. You got to get married. You got to buy a house. You got to have a car by this age, or you got to go do whatever the hell everybody else kept telling you what you had to do. I'm here to tell you, most of what people are telling you what you got to do, they did what they had to do, but you can do what you want to fucking do. You don't got to do all the things you're being told that you have to do. Now, when you're younger, I don't want to get this misconstrued. I'm not saying you could go out and break the law and do all that stuff, and there's not going to be problems. And, of course, if you're under someone's house, and your parents, for instance, and they're telling you better go cut the lawn or I'm going to throw your ass out, you got to do what you got to do. Let's not get ridiculous. And you have to have respect for others. What I'm saying is people telling you throughout your life, especially I should say as an adult, that if you don't do what what you're considered to do to make you, I guess, or make people think you're complete is ridiculous. And I don't mean to just say marriage, but like if someone says, you got to be married by this age, or you got to have kids, or you got to go to college. If you want to go to college, God bless. If you don't, whatever. You better have, you got to go work here. It's always you got to. I'm going to tell you what you got to do. You got to figure your own shit out. Because I think what happens with a lot of people is you listen to a lot of people throughout your life. And you kind of conform into a lot of things that you probably aren't. And people don't realize this a lot of times till it's too late. Now, I'm not here to just bash marriage or work or colleges or any of that shit. I hope everyone understands. I'm just using them for an example. Because I actually was very happily married for many, many years. I got a divorce, whatever. I like relationships. But I can see, I'll just use for an example, if somebody came to me and said, Rich, I don't understand the concept of marriage. For life, that seems kind of ridiculous. And I step back and say, I agree. Just saying. I can see both sides. I really can. Some people want to be married, want to commit to somebody for the rest of their life. At that point in time, will it work out or not? I have no idea. But I also could see somebody on the other side saying this is unrealistic and most likely is not going to last the rest of my life. I'd see that point of view as well. And, when you hear the you gotta thing it's probably going to come a lot from your parents, family members, friends, colleagues, all this. You got to do this, man. You got to go here. Even if it's different than saying, hey, your buddy says, man, you got to go to Hawaii and you got to go to, Maui. That's different. What I'm saying is people kind of controlling your life or kind of telling you or making you feel like you got to do this. If you don't, man, people are going to look at you like you're a weirdo, or people are going to think you're stupid, or people are going to, talk, or that's not normal. Why would you do that? It's that type of bullshit that I think, especially younger people, and I've been discussing this on my podcast and YouTube, that my demographic is younger dudes, which I like that, actually. A lot of times when I talk to guys my age, and I'm probably one of these assholes too, I'm kind of set in my ways, right? But I do like the youth because I'm always learning from them. And I think a lot of the youth will kind of experiment with things I'm saying or listen to me and go, you know what, that's a different perspective. I like that. Or a lot of middle class or older guys, they're kind of not really interested in changing, or a lot of times taking risks or just chances, I guess you could say, and looking at things from a totally different perspective. But back to the you got us. Back to me saying that you got to figure your own shit out. The quicker you realize that you have your own identity and your own life to lead, and it is not going to be, no matter what you do, I don't care if you even go work for them, because I've done this. I am not like, say, my father, even though I worked with him for many, many years. And, when you hear even from your parents, you got to do this, or you got to take over a family business, you got to, raise your family this way, and you got to believe in maybe this religion, you got to believe in this political view, it gets daunting. And, some things may be right that you love. And I'm not, say I grew up in an Italian household. I love a lot of traditions and I love a lot of things that they do. But there was a lot of things that aggravated me as well. And if you, like when I went to Italy and, you have family members there and you're looking at them and they're looking at you like, how do you live that way? And then I'm looking at them like, how do you live your way? Even though we're, say, the same, nationality, hypothetically, well, I'll be American, they'll be European, whatever, but family members, we live two totally different lives. And obviously, if I grew up in Italy, I'd have a whole different perspective, and vice versa. But my point being is, I kind of liked learning from, say, another culture, having immigrant grandparents, because I was learning kind of the culture of Italy, and then in America, learning mine. But what I really realized was I was creating my own. It was neither. And I think maybe some people should, think about that as well, is not just getting caught up with maybe everything their family's doing, unless they want to. If you want to do that, that's wonderful. Because I will say, somebody like me, I love Italian food. I only want to eat Italian food for the most part. It doesn't mean I can't eat other foods. But that is something that I really love to enjoy. But if you are somebody that just wants to start making changes and not do what everyone else is doing, don't be afraid to do that. I have two close friends, and actually they're in their, well, one's going to be 50, I think, or both are going to be 50, I think, soon. Very close. And neither one's been married. Both live two totally different lifestyles. Both have two totally different educations. But what's quite interesting about the two of them is they're, I think maybe one wanted to get married, couldn't, one didn't, and didn't. But regardless, they very good lives. And I don't think to the point they rushed certain things just to say, hey, I want this and I have to do this. And if I don't have this, people are going to look at me wrong. And me being married with kids, I kind of always looked at that and said, wow, I always wanted kids, but I wondered if, say, I didn't want kids, if I still would have been like, hey, I'm not going to have kids. Or I would have been like, well, maybe people are going to look at me like the weird uncle or the weird cousin, the guy who never had kids, or the one that's always with different types of women, whatever the case may be. But I'm just pointing them out to me because they're some of my closest friends. And even though they've been part of my life, we live totally different lifestyles. Even though I'm, with them a lot, and I do things with them a lot, and they do a lot of things with my kids and a big part of my life. But we couldn't live totally different opposite lives. And they have a whole different perspective, both of them, on how they live their lives, and I have mine. And the reason I bring this up is just like I said previously, is your perspective may be a lot different than everyone else that's around you. It could be, again, family members, friends, and colleagues. Sometimes I goof around and say, think outside the box, of course, and then smash it. There really is no box. Just go figure out what's going to work best for you, and don't always get caught up in the you gotta, especially if you're learning things online, say, and I did a video on gurus and all these people saying, buy my program, which I have a program too, but I definitely don't tell you got to buy it. My program may or may not be for you. And a lot of people be like, Rich, you got to tell people, no, the program is for them, and explain why. Yeah, for sure. I'll tell you what my program's about. But my information is not for everybody. It's probably not for most. Because the way I talk, maybe the way I act may turn off a lot of people. Maybe it doesn't, but it's just me being me. But if you are somebody out there that's even watching a lot of things online, it could be learning about real estate, it could be learning about finances, the stock market, fitness, whatever, and they're saying, you got to do this, you better do this. If you're going to diet, or if you want to lose weight, you better, try this diet. You better eat these portions, eat these type of foods. If you want to work out, you got to try this type of workout routine, all this shit. You don't got to do any of that shit. You got to figure out first what's going to be best for you, and also test many things and understand, and I talk about this all the time, and I'm going to wrap it up with, no one out there lives your life. No one. No one goes to bed at the same time. No one eats the same food. No one has the same family members. No one has the same income, possibly. Nobody spends their money the same way. You're just a different person from top to bottom, especially the ones telling you. And I don't care how poor they were before, or if they're the same nationality, or they went to the same school as you, or, if you're friends with them, blah, blah, blah. They're not you. Remember that. So that doesn't mean that you don't want to take their advice as far as listening and maybe some things working and not working out for you. But a lot of the information that they're giving you, probably some will work, but realistically, a lot probably won't work for you either. I mean, it may all work for you, but I think a lot of times, and I can speak for myself because I've taught programs and I've taught fitness and I teach different things, that if I have one person, if they pick up 10% of what I'm trying to teach, that's amazing. Just saying. If you think I'm going to teach somebody and they're going to pick up 50, 75, 100%, go out and do what I'm doing or do what I've done, that's whack. That's whack, in my opinion. Because again, we all live different lifestyles, and also the consistency, and things change every single day. What I teach you one day may fit you, that particular whatever you learn, but then the next day you may go out and do something entirely different that doesn't even pertain to you anymore, that doesn't work for you anymore. So these are things just because of things changing. So just pay attention to this shit, please. All right, I'm going to wrap it up there, my friends. Get a chance, check out my YouTube channel, Rich CELENZA. Got a lot of different stuff on there lately regarding fitness and hygiene and wardrobes. Getting a lot into clothing if you want any pointers on what I think works and what doesn't work. Again, agree or disagree. Check that out if you get a chance. I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All right, take care, and I wish you nothing but the best.